Hi, I'm Andy, and thank you for taking the time to watch this short video. In my hand is a little book entitled Real Lives. It's written by Dorothy Carswell, and it's published by 10 of Those Publishing. Let me give you a taster, just a little taster from one of the stories from the life of a guy called Barry Davis. The story begins with Barry being escorted into a prison in Nicaragua by the prison guards. Now, as you read the story, realizing that Barry is an Englishman, you begin to ask the question, well, how on earth did he find himself there? Well, in order to answer that question, we really need to rewind, go back to the beginning of his life, to the county of Lancashire where he grew up. Barry begins to tell his life story, the fact that his early years as a child were very difficult, filled with tragedy too, because he lost his mum whenever he was 7 years of age. And as he got older, things went from bad to worse. He started to get involved in crime. He would steal a lot. He was frequently fighting with his dad. Eventually, he was expelled from school. And then he had to spend some time in a youth detention centre. And as he got older and became a young man, things didn't improve. And he talks about his life just being this kind of downward spiral. How did it all change? Well, something significant happened in his life whenever he started to work alongside an Irish Catholic man. And he tells us that this Irish man had 12 children, would you believe? And Barry eventually discovers that some of these children were born again Christians. And as he gets to know them, he talks about being increasingly attracted to them because they were different. And so they would have conversations together, and Barry would ask them questions about God and about life. And they would relate the story of the Bible's message to him. They would speak to him about how sin separates us from God, but God in his love sends his son Jesus into the world, and through his death and resurrection, Jesus bridges that gap between God and people on the earth. And someone also gave him a Bible to read at that particular time, and so he started to read the Bible, and he began to see some of his questions answered. And he realized that if his life was to change, if he was to become a follower of Jesus, then certain things also would have to disappear from his life. Let me read what he says at that particular time. I saw that all the things that were stopping me becoming a Christian were nothing compared to the benefits of trusting Jesus. I took the step of committing my life to Christ. I got on my knees and asked God, if he was there, to come into my life and change me. That prayer, he says, was the first one I can remember praying seriously in my life. I have not been the same since. You see, God answered his prayer, and everything changed for Barry. He speaks about all of a sudden his heart and his life being filled with peace and joy. He talks about his old habits disappearing and the fact that he now has new desires in his life to read the Bible and to pray and to serve God in whatever way he could. Eventually, God leads him to study theology and train for the ministry in Belfast Bible College. And after that, God leads him then to the land of Nicaragua, where he visits prisons and he speaks to young men whose lives, just like his, are in a sorry mess. And he relates the good news about Jesus Christ to them, and he tells them how Jesus changed his life and how Jesus can change their lives also. Now, I wonder, as I've just been giving you a short summary of Barry's story, I wonder, do you have questions? I wonder, do you feel that things need to change in your life? Will you do what Barry Davis did? Will you speak to a Christian friend if you have one? Or will you read the Bible for yourself? And as you do, will you take Jesus at his word whenever he says to you, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest"?